Today we are looking at the Vespid2 with their Cooke lens data protocol. You remember we have a main episode, and if you're interested in the optical quality of these lenses, I invite you to watch that episode. But we had the problem that with the prototypes, the Cooke was not yet installed. This is the finalized version, and you can see that the LEMO as well as the lens port here has active Cooke, and the Ursa Cine 12K that films me right now has some brilliant extra features with lens data. The first AC monitor can display the focus and the iris information in real time. So when I'm pulling focus on me, like I'm doing right now, you can see that in the lower left corner, the distance information is changing in real time. And the same is true for my iris. So that is pretty neat and practical for all-day work, but there is more.
Lens data can communicate a variety of attributes like focal length, focus distance, aperture, zoom factor, and even lens distortion from the lens to the camera, if the camera and file type supports the use data protocol. If the camera and the file type supports the use data protocol, it can record it to the metadata of the video file. This data can be used in real time on set, for example to display lens data on focus equipment, or in post for better organization and VFX work. Here is an example of lens data in post using the Arri reference tool with a shot we did for our virtual production episode Into the Volume. Unfortunately, the Vespid2 prototypes we used for most shots didn't have the lens data system installed, so this is a shot we did with an Ingenieur zoom on an Alexa 35 that supports Arri lens data system, or short LDS. You can see how the lens data is expressed in curves over the duration of the shot, in how the focus and the zoom ramp up and down for the dolly zoom, and also when the first AC is hunting for the right focus point. This data can be exported to be used in tailor-made VFX pipelines, for example to place CG objects in the scene and to take the guesswork out of the correct focal length, subject distance, depth of field, and so on. The least you can get out of lenses and camera equipped with lens data is an improved digital clapper, holding essential information about the used lens and its setting without having to document that on set. Especially for small crews, that alone can be a heaven sent. But lens data can do more, as it's not only recorded on the clip level, but on the frame level. Obviously, we are talking about lens data in the cine and broadcast lens context. For the lenses of a system camera, like here the Lumix S1 II with a native zoom lens, lens data is a normality. The servos communicate with the autofocus processor, the IBIS only works with the right focal length settings, and auto exposure requires information and control of the iris. Beyond that, modern system lenses are often corrected for distortions in camera. Of course, the lenses and the camera have to be a highly integrated system to make that possible. Focus, iris, and zoom data is not recorded into the metadata on a frame-by-frame basis, at least not to our knowledge. This is exactly where cine and broadcast lens data systems come into the picture. These systems are not designed to lock you into one camera system, but to work with all major cinema cameras. There are three established lens data systems on the market: Arri LDS, Cooke, and Zeiss extended lens data that is based on Cooke. Lenses from the respective manufacturers use their specific protocol, and there are many alliances. For example, Ingenieur supports Arri LDS2, Arri cameras support Cooke, and so on. It's complicated. A modern cinecam can support one or more of these protocols. Check with your specification if your camera supports lens data and which one. For lens data to work, the lens must have electronic connectors in the PL or LPL mount of the lens, and your camera needs to have an active PL or LPL mount. Here is an Arri Alexa mount with two connectors. This allows you to install the lens in different orientations. Here's a Marvel F with active PL mount, and this one only allows for the normal lens orientation. You can't communicate lens data via an active PL adapter to any of the system mounts, at least not at this time. All the adapters that we have seen are passive, and no system camera is compatible with Cooke Eye to start with. We were able to verify that lens data can be recorded frame by frame with Arri RAW, ProRes, at least in the MXF container generated by Alexa, and BRAW. We also see documented support for native Sony and Red RAW formats. We couldn't check if an MP4 container can contain frame-based metadata. For cameras without the ability to store the metadata with the picture information, Cooke Eye lenses have a second port that can display or record lens data on external devices, like a Locket Plus. Cooke Eye is the lens data protocol developed by Cooke, and it can be licensed by third-party manufacturers for $1 per year. This avoids the obligation to be open source. Inside each Cooke Eye-equipped lens, there are resistive sensing strips that are calibrated in absolute values. As soon as the power is applied, the data is available instantly, without the need for an initialization procedure. A continuous mode can send a constant updated data stream at up to 285 frames per second to the camera. This means that there are no complex additional electronics or mechanics inside the lens that might break. Cooke lenses like the new Speed Pancrus and the S7 and S8 lineup support Cooke Eye. The SP3 don't support Cooke Eye as they are not designed for PL or LPL. Cooke Eye is supported by Arri Alexas, Sony Venice, F3, F5, F55, F65 RED cameras, and as it seems the Blackmagic Cine cameras, at least the Cine 12K, we tested it on. Our Marvel F is supposed to support Cooke Eye, but the active PL mount in its current form is not compatible with the Vespid 2. Kinefinity is working on a solution. There are different versions of Cooke Eye, with version 3 even containing detailed information about lens distortions, fall-off, etc. The Vespid 2 support the first version of Cooke Eye, and that includes the lens type, focal length, aperture, and the focus distance. Now, lens data is only as useful as it is supported in your post workflow, and here our experience and research showed that the landscape is quite desolate at the moment. If your camera and file type supports lens data, it will show up in the metadata of Resolve. We shot a little test clip in the studio with the Ursa Cine 12K. The Ursa has the neat feature that iris and focus distance are displayed on the first AC's monitor on the right side of the camera. By the way, the graphical focus ring should move like the iris ring does. That works with the Vespid 2, I saw it live on the IBC. Maybe we had a firmware problem here. Still, we see the focus distance on the bottom right. Let's drop an 8K BRAW clip we shot on the Ursa Cine 12K on the timeline. In the metadata panel, we choose Camera in the drop-down menu. Now we can scroll down, and besides your usual information about the camera, frame rate, shutter angle, ISO and so on, you will find the lens-specific information. Wonderful. Especially someone like me who tests a lot of lenses can't wait until lens data is standard for all new Cine lenses. Still, when we scrub through our clip, we see that nothing is changing. Aperture and the focus distance remain at the position they were when we hit record, which really limits the usefulness, especially for long takes with a lot of changes in the data. Now, wouldn't it be great if Resolve would update this information on the fly, just like we saw it in the Arri reference tool? Editing doesn't change anything. Unfortunately, you don't get the information from the first frame of the edit either. If you really need the data from a specific frame, here's a hack. Simply edit to that frame and export a timeline with only that bit of the clip using the Media Manager tool. Choose the trim feature with 0 frame handles and export the timeline. If you re-import that clip from the destination, that clip will show the lens data from that first frame in the Meta tab. Of course, this is very inconvenient, and there must be better ways to display and use frame-related lens data for VFX work. Strangely, there are absolutely no tutorials and no other documentation about it on the web, yet. Zeiss had an AfterEffects plugin for the extended data protocol, but we can't try it as it's not compatible with current AfterEffects version, and that seems to be the case for a long time.
So we set out to find our own solution using the Fusion page of Resolve. We tried to figure something out with the help of Leon from Team 2 Films that is a wizard with Fusion, but we didn't find a straightforward way, and his Blackmagic design contacts, let's say, they didn't want to play with us. Thanks a lot, Leon. Check out Team 2 Films for very cool deep dives into everything Resolve and more. We think that there's real potential for lens data in a suite like Resolve. It would be fantastic if Blackmagic implemented tools to make lens data more usable, like refreshing the meta on a frame basis or at least automatically to the first frame of an edited clip right inside your timeline. For VFX work, it would be great if a virtual camera in Fusion could be controlled using selected settings of the lens data, like matching focus, distance, focal length and iris, and that just by checking the box of the parameter. This would simplify the process immensely. Do other common tools like Premiere or AfterEffects have a better integration?
Premiere doesn't natively support BRAW, but when we open our clips using Autochroma's BRAW Studio, we get access to the metadata. And we see absolutely nothing. No lens type, no aperture, no focus data. Only after we installed the free True EXIF plugin, we were able to read camera and lens related data. And even here, we were only able to access the lens name and type. No aperture, no focus. At least you can see what focal length was used.
With AfterEffects, we weren't any luckier. Metadata shows absolutely nothing. Like mentioned, the plugin from Zeiss is outdated. This brings us to a verdict. I would say that lens data has some convenience to it, especially when you're doing a lens test, but who really does that? Still, it's a nice feature to be able to see exactly what lens was used when removed from the shooting itself. If you have short takes, the focus and iris information can be helpful too. Right now, there's no real straightforward solution to use Cooke or any other lens data system for VFX, at least for the everyday filmmakers. It makes total sense in complex productions that have the resources to brute force the subjects, like writing their own software or using lens data with external recorders. There would be a need to be a little integration effort made by players like Blackmagic and Adobe to make lens data more accessible. Maybe affordable lenses like the Vespid 2 will breathe new life in the subject. If you have figured out a simpler solution to use lens data in Resolve, Premiere or other NLEs that we don't use, please let us know in the comments.
By the way, I will give a speech about production value at the Creator Summit in January. That is an event for creators, filmmakers and photographers in Bayreuth, Germany. Besides my presentation, there are many other speakers and subjects to enjoy. There will also be a workshop from Canon, Teltec, Lumix, Sony, Blackmagic, Tilta, Nikon and a lot more. Being in Germany, this event will be in German, so it might be helpful if you speak the language. If you are interested in a round, we are giving away 3 free tickets to our audience. You will find a link in the description. Würde mich freuen, euch dort zu treffen.
Like always, our hearts go out to our members that make complex productions like this possible. If you want to support us, you can do so by becoming a member of the media division yourself, or simply by liking this video if you think that we deserve it. We have a lot of cool stuff in production, so if you don't want to miss out, subscribe if you haven't done that already. If you are a manufacturer and you would like to show your interesting gear, service or tools to our lovely community of professional filmmakers, you will find our email address in the description. This is it for today. My name is Nicholas, signing out with nerdylicious wishes. Shoot something amazing.